somebody mentioned about the issue of our commissioners being people who have a moral upstanding and people who can be counted on give us deliberate and good results. Because we don't know if we put somebody there, we can keep on talking about LDC commissioners, but we don't just want anybody in that position. We want somebody who's actually worthy, who can do a good job, who's going to go there, and regardless of how much money somebody throws at them, they can give us good
They can give
results.
us good results.
And from
And
now on,
from now on,
I'd like to speak
I'd like
about
to speak about
police being held
police being held
personally accountable for what they've done to us,
what
most of us. There's
No,
yes, yes.
there is a very big problem with your mic. Maybe Ephraim, you can take over, then maybe we'll come back later when the mic is okay. Ephraim. Sally?
Hi,
Hello,
Kimberly. I hope you can hear me.
I'm here. Ephraim here.
Oh, Ephraim, okay, you can go first.
Ephraim, you can take over, please. Kindly. Ephraim?
Can you hear me? Hello? Kimuzi? Am I audible?
We can hear you.
Okay, thank you so much for this space. I was saying, I think mine will be a little bit brief, but first of all, condolences to those people who lost their lives through the shooting by the police. Condolences to the family. I mean, it was so sad losing these heroes in this fight. Okay, guys, I think we need to understand the complexity of the problem that we are facing right now. The problem, I think, is beyond Ruto, simply because I think we are dealing with a problem which is a deep-rooted systemic problem. That is to say, like, we have Ruto, who is a mess, he is a liar, a very bad trait for a leader. We have the parliament, which is basically like a puppet. We have a part of the judiciary. We have the police, which are now even worse. Then corruption is a big elephant, which now thrives across all these institutions. So guys, I think we also need to be a bit realistic. Ruto is not one guy who can wake up one day and say, I resign. And if he does so, and maybe we have that IBC, and elections are held in the next maybe 90 or whatever days, let's be honest, Kenyans, we're still going to have leaders, or maybe the same or majority of the same politicians who are also part of the systemic problem. My suggestion is this. I think we need to use a different approach, as in, let's focus on cleaning up the system, as in total cleanup. And we should focus our energy on parliament, because I think that is the main house, or the place where we lose all these battles. That is where we can be able to tame this corruption. That is where we can have institutions being accountable. That is the main area where we can communicate to it directly and have things done according to our way as the people. So my opinion would be, we need to focus on two things, because I see today's theme is focusing on immediate things that can be done. Number one, I think we need to fight for justice for those people who lost their lives in the streets. And by saying this, I mean, we can collect evidence. We know the cops who are involved in this. We can pick up 2 or 3 and have them charged in a court. And I'm sure we can get support from lawyers and support from LSK and many other people who may be of the same common goal. And this case can also help us to continue now showing our presence or our fight online and offline towards having justice for these people who we lost in the streets. Number two, I also think we need to recall the 204 MPs. I'm sure you guys have seen they have started resurfacing, now showing Kenyans the middle finger. I mean, why did we even lose this from the beginning? Why have we not initiated the process of recalling these guys? We already have, I think it is Cabinate constituency where they're recalling their MP. And those guys are ahead of the game. They have already started. They have printed the books. They have visited the churches. They are going to also show, I think they call, there is a word they call mitaani huko, where they are placing people and putting themselves together in collecting these signatures and details. And there is a lawyer who was in this space, I think either this space or another one, who explained it very well, that recalling an MP is not something that is complex. We basically just need to collect the signatures and the details. We collect 50 plus 1, that is the majority of every word that voted for that particular MP. Then we raise a petition through the IEBC. It doesn't matter whether we have a chairman of the IEBC or not, we already have a secretariat who are given the responsibility of processing these petitions. And the work becomes easier because this petition now, when it leaves IEBC, it goes straight to the speaker, where it shows that the people of this area, they have said you are not able to serve them according to what to their wishes. And that basically means that guy, I think, I don't know how it goes now beyond that, but it is just a simple thing, though it involves a lot of work, the nitty-gritties and hula baloo of going all around collecting all these details, but it is achievable. If we could pick up these two things, I'm sure we can maintain the momentum that we may need to keep on pushing for better governance of this country. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ephraim. Thank you for your input. You can mute your mic. Maybe we give next to a lady, maybe Sally, because she has been raising her hand up. Then Sally, then next Sally.
Okay, thank you so much. I hope you can hear me. So, hi everyone. Thank you so much, Kimuzi. I don't know, I keep on calling you Kimuzi for hosting this space. And yeah, so first of all, of course, my condolences to the families, the friends, and the loved ones of all those who've lost their lives in this fight. Our prayers are with you, and yeah, we hope that God will see you through this trying times. Secondly, of course, as a young person, I'm very proud of my country at this moment, and much as whatever is happening right now is very mentally and emotionally draining, because honestly speaking, I did not ever envision a time in my life where I would log on to X or Twitter or whatever you call it and find, images of people my age who have been killed, who've been shot in the name of fighting for our country. So it is emotionally draining, it is mentally draining, but we cannot give up. Giving up is not a choice. We can't take mental breaks because, again, it's not easy, but we cannot give up. Now, moving on to a point which we're talking about today, the next immediate measures. So I've seen people talking about the low-hanging fruits that we have. That means the things that we have at hand, like the easiest reach, the things we can easily reach for. And I remember at the beginning of this fight, when this thing just started online, we were telling ourselves that our greatest weapons are our phones and the internet. I feel like we can still take advantage of those instead of maybe we are going for things that maybe are still far, are still quite out of reach. But what we have currently are our phones and the internet. And how can we use this to still keep on realizing our dreams and goals and to still keep on winning this fight? Number one, we saw during Thursday's demonstrations that the goons were hired. And these goons are not old people. These goons are not like the older generation. These goons that were hired are our age mates, like ni mayouth kama sisi. So much as I may be sounding like the devil's advocate here, but I would like to see them not as our enemies, but as people who just saw an opportunity to get quick money and went for it. The people who are sort of mentally enslaved to these politicians. So by using our phones and internet, we can maybe do things like making graphics. I've seen people really make really, really nice graphics, like graphics that sort of discourage these people against accepting small money from these politicians, to remind them that you are doing those pathetic jobs because these politicians have taken away the opportunities from you. These graphics can be in Sheng, can be in Swahili, can be in English, as in a language that they can easily understand. If you can make such graphics, then at the end of the day, our another weapon that we have is our numbers. We are many, sisi ndo wengi kuwashinda. So if we are able to get as many of us as possible into this movement, including those goons or those, let me not call them goons, let me just call them those youth or young men, and I don't know if women were among them, but maybe young men and women who are easily bought to go and do those bad things. If we can convince them to take the money, yes, but don't do it. You don't have to do what they tell you to do. You can take their money because, I mean, they're the ones offering, but you don't have to do what they're telling you to do. Then you can really, really make some steps with some of the simple things that we have at hand. Another thing is we need to infiltrate our family groups. You see those posters that we are making, do not be afraid. I mean, those posters that, for example, the ones that showed how much money like someone stole and how much it can do not be afraid to share those posters, even in your nuclear family groups. Like, no matter how small your family group is, share it. I don't know whether it would be appropriate to share those in church groups, but if you can, 100% share them so that these people can know. I remember yesterday, I think was it in Kericho, people went and put back up that wheelbarrow thing. You see, that shows the amount of mental slavery that we still have to fight. Yes, we are fighting for IBC to be reconstituted. Yes, we are fighting to recall our MPs. Yes, we are fighting all these things. But there's still a lot of mental slavery in our country. And that is what we really, as we work towards these tangible things, we really need to also work to liberate those people so that when it comes to the time for an election, when it comes to the time for whether it will be in the next 90 days or in 2027, whichever time an election will come, we will have liberated these people. We will have numbers. Number one, we will have the numbers. Because the only, honestly speaking, it's only like maybe the youth who have been exposed to some of these things that we know Ruto for the evil that he is. But for some of our age mates who do not have sort of the, how do I put it, the level of, I don't want to say it education. I don't know you, but you people get what I'm saying, right? I hope you do. They don't have like that level. They won't see it. They're still mentally, tied to these politicians. So we need to find ways of releasing them from the shackles of mental slavery that they're on. Another thing is civic education. I saw Mushiri. Mushiri did really, really well by translating the finance bill in mother tongue, different, vernacular languages. If we could scale that up to do that to the constitution, again, our phones and the internet, recording reels on TikTok, recording reels on Instagram doesn't really take long. Someone can just choose a clause of some clause or article of the Constitution and explain it in their language. Those ones, again, we share them in our family groups so that they know that, okay, this is what the Constitution says, and this is our right, and this is what this person has done. And right now, another point, right now, the things we have seen on the internet, the way this guy spoke that day that she was really, really mad, the one that we actually know that's the real him. I mean, by this guy named Ruto, by the way, that day that we saw that, like, that's the real him. The things he said, the things he did, the photos we have on the internet, the videos we have of police killing us and beating us up and shooting us and arresting us, that is our evidence. That is what we have. So that the time the next election come, we put even more focus on much as we will be campaigning for our candidate of choice at that time, we also put more focus on campaigning against this guy. Remember, again, this Ruto is a very smart guy, right? We all know that he's a very smart politician, and he does not mind playing dirty. So if he doesn't mind playing dirty, then we should also beat him at his own game. I mean, we can also play dirty, but playing dirty does not necessarily mean breaking the law. We can find ways of playing dirty by not necessarily breaking the law. If it's campaigning against him, the way I see Nani does, this guy is Itumbi. The way Itumbi does a lot of spreading of propaganda.
Kindly wind up because we
Sorry.
have so many speakers.
Yeah, this is my last point. If you can beat them at their own game by spreading propaganda, but not like the bad kind, like the good kind of propaganda, so that people know. So yeah, thank you. That's my point.
Thank you so much. Sale next, then Endoro. Sale.
Yes, thank you very much for granting me this opportunity to actually speak my prologue, so to say. This system, this government has actually taken away my family, your families, hopes for ever being achievers, hopes for development. This current regime promised us quite a lot of things, so to say, in businesses, in jobs, ease of our livelihoods, but at the long run, it actually ascertains that Africa actually kills her own sons. To be in particular, I would say Kenya kills her own sons and daughters, just at the expense of just mere ambitions, being egocentric. With all due honesty, I think, yes, literally Kenya is killing its own son, in its own son in each context. Because yes, we do have ambitions, we do have aspirations in life. I would like to also get a decent living. I mean, I'm looking forward to my own future. And here, the government won't realize that the only way we can only come out of this predicament is actually struggling to survive. We can come out of all this when the government actually just hears us as a quick solution. Hears us, it does away with all this institutional capture. It has its tentacles all over the place, the judiciary, the police, even our own institutions, the youth institution in the government have also been captured. So how can we trust them? So even the guys purporting that they are their own leaders, actually they are betrayers. They have betrayed us. So we as the Gen Z, quote unquote, we are basically fighting, or we are just protecting for what we know is truly ours. Na by the way, Govt wanisikie. I'm sure kwa hapa kwa hii platform. Because we are out on these streets because we are actually fighting for our own freedom, our own jobs, basically our own hope. We just want that mere hope that we are clinging on is what is taking us out there. Bele tumekuwa peaceful all this time. Na gava pia hata wenyewe walikuwa na acknowledge. They have never seen such thing as that. But Wezi ko tuna claim pia at the same time, yes, we are peaceful. But at the same time, you guys, the government, you keep on undermining us. You keep on, you don't want to hear us out. You're claiming you are taking care of our needs, but in actual sense, you are eating us up. Shinda tunasoma kwa history books ati Kenya at some point tulikuwa in the likes of Singapore. Why can't we ourselves actually create those history for ourselves? And that is the starting point. Gava pia irudishe its focus. Vision 2030 now it's a facade. We seem to have been losing a lot of focus. It seems so far-fetched for us. If at all kama ni Gen Z ndio itatake, si wenyewe ndio tukue more of overseers, Overseers as in nini? Overseers, hata ukisema mara nyingi inakuja more of being officers, and we shall take accountability to the end. Kama if at all it is in those leaders, yes, we shall. If at all tutatumia our own expertise, we in IT, we in law, tuta break down these laws for our fellow Kenyans. We as teachers tutazifundisha kwa watu, hata watu wa MJE, tutabonga tu kwa site. Medics wanatusaidia pia. As we as Kenyans, hii emblem imekam as Kenyans. So mtu anakama anauliza, okay, we have our own leader. No, we don't. It is just a simple no. We don't have any leader. Do you know what is guiding us? Or our own lead? Ama nini? What is our own lead at the moment? It is actually our own passion. Like zetu zenye all of us we are resonating so well with. Mjamaa unaona, yes, wajamaa wamekaa base mtaani. Actually, those things, our visions, yani to our hope of ever being developed.
Sale, kindly let's check on time, kindly.
Sure. But basically, if at all it is more like proposals that we actually want from this current regime, first of all, we demand for the cabinet equal dissolved kabisa. We don't want reshuffles. Hatutaki yo Linturi sijui apelekwe wapi. All of those guys watolewe tu. It doesn't matter wali invest ngapi hapo ndani. It doesn't matter. Police wapewe independence yao. They've been captured. Judiciary pia the same thing. They've been captured. We take up easy roles pia sisi hata kama on ma senators, we don't need those roles. These roles we don't need them. Actually, we can hold these guys into account. Into account. I was born in this country. This society ni ours. Tutaendelea kuifightia for, and that's the basic point for all of us. Thank you, guys.
Ndoro, you can go next, and kindly keep the time. Just limit yourself to 3 minutes because there are so many people that want to talk here. So let's give each and every person time. Kindly just highlight your issue in a very articulate manner, and we shall pick because we are trying to see the issues that we have raised. Many people have said reconstitute the IBC, others is dissolve the cabinet, not reshuffle. Let's continue. Ndoro.
Thank you so much, Kimuzi, everyone in the audience. I would also like to thank all the protesters who've been showing up on the Tuesday and Thursday marches for making your voices heard. I personally do not take it for granted, and let us not forget all our brothers and sisters who have, in one way or another, fallen by the wayside as a result of the brutality in the response from our government. I'd also like to thank all the lawyers who stood by us, who went for our guys who had been caught and negotiated their releases. To everyone who has been supporting us online, both locally and internationally, we see you and we do appreciate you very much. So one thing that I would like to bring to all of our attention is that what we see on the ground, the government and the hand that it is playing in the situation that we are in as a country right now is at the tip of the iceberg, so to say. All this financial instability, because that is what is going to result from all this chaos, is as a result of a global economy that is deeply flawed. And to understand where it all started, I'm going to have to highlight a conflict that started all the way back in 1971. I don't know how many of you in the audience are aware of the gold standard and how the global economy and the national currencies of the world are pegged to each other in value. So to highlight that, a long time ago, right after World War II, that is in 1971, that was way before that. Right after World War II, all the nation states of the world gathered in the United States to come up with a de facto system that would regulate the world economy. And that was when the US dollar was pegged to gold and every other currency in the world was pegged to the US currency. And that system had its merits in the sense that it prevented countries from devaluing themselves by printing too much money or abusing the economic powers in a way that would destabilize the entire system. But when the United States was given the lead to be the base currency for the entire economic system, they misused that power. If you remember correctly, that is the period when the United States had a very huge economic boom. They would even go as far as putting people on the moon, and that is what caused other countries, especially France, to be cautious as to the misuse of the power that the United States had been given as a de facto currency of the world. So famously, the French sent a boat to the US to collect their gold back, the gold that they had deposited in the US, so that it could act as their, Nikama reservoir. Yeah, let me say that, reservoir. So they went to ask it back, fearing that the United States was printing more money than was economically allowed in the system that they had just passed. And because President Nixon at the time was aware that this was exactly what was happening, President Nixon, back in 1971, decoupled the dollar from the gold standard, which made all currencies in the world pegged to nothing. So as it stands today, the United States has the ability to print as much money as it wants. And the only thing that ever does is to even more so destabilize not only their economy, but our economy and the economies of the world. So the way it affects us as Kenya today is that when we look to the east and we look to the west, notice that when the Chinese offered us economic support, they not only sent money, but they sent their workers to build ports, to build roads, and to build railway stations. But when the United States, if your memory will serve you, just a few weeks ago, when they send help, they send IMF, they send suppressive bills that will not only make life hard for the normal citizen, but even that money itself does not make its way to the ground. I am not making this statement to make you aware of my preference. No, this is not a personal preference. This is just a statement of facts. That the real problem that we need to address is the structure of our economic system. Shall we continue to be the dump site for a system that has already continued to fail not only itself, but a system that, if you can remember the 2008 housing crisis, the European debt crisis, all of these had their root causes in the US financial structure, and Wall Street and IMF and all these other US-based institutions had their role to play in that. And you would have to note that over the past few months, the tone of the president towards the dollar had just shifted. A few months ago, he was cautioning people about holding the dollar, and now today he's out there signing deals with them. So be cautious. And I think the one solution that we can have is to turn our economy, not to rely so much on these people. Let us not rely on these politicians to build our roads or to improve our schools or to, build hospitals. It is very possible for the Kenyan people, through their own work, to build institutions and companies and financial bodies that can do this for us. Because at the end of the day, if we build our schools, if we build our hospitals, it is us who gain, it is our children who gain. So I really hope that at the end of the day, we appreciate the fact that, yes, they might put us in this economic, let me even call it a shithole, sorry. But at the end of the day, it is our responsibility to find solutions beyond our passionate expressions of a disdain and distrust. It is up to us to build the companies and the institutions that, even if they're not in government, because even the work of the government is to create policies that govern the way the country runs. But it is for us to use those policies and take up the role as the hands that actually push those, so to say, carts. We are the ones who are going to build those roads. We're the ones who are going to start those companies. We're the ones who are going to take books to those schools. We are the ones who are going to become teachers, founders, CEOs, etc., etc. So I do hope that later on today, we shall all recollect, what can I do? Do I have a project I wish I could do? Do I have a company that is in the back, in my notebook somewhere? Attention yen tumekuwa create, and I've loved the passion that we have. I would like us to now look at ourselves. What can we do now? What things can we build today that can earn us as a community? Because that is what we are right now. What projects can we start now that are not ideally for charity? And I do appreciate the many efforts that I've seen going around to help people who have been injured and all the families who have been bereft. Let our next steps now be about building. What can we do to make the future brighter instead of only soothing the wounds of today? And let us focus on that. The more we do that, the more we can offset the economical imbalances created by the impunity of these leaders, and the more capable we will be to even cause changes therein, because they will not listen to us if we continue to be jobless. But we can create jobs for ourselves, and we can become profitable institutions, and then we can cause the change, and that'll be even easier, and that effect will only compound. So thank you, Kimuzi, and I do appreciate the chance to share this with you.
Thank you. Thank you for the input. Maybe next lady I have AD, then Franklin, who is raising his hand.
Hey, thank you, Kimuzi, for the chance to speak, and to everybody who is listening, habari zenu. And I'm passing my condolences to the families who lost their loved ones. Those were our brave soldiers. So nataka tu kwenda straight to the point. The topic is the next immediate measures the government must take. So I'm thinking that, guys, we have a list that kuna hii list ilikuwa inatoka anonymously that was circulating around. Tulikuwa tunazipata, tunazirepost. So I think that list had clear things on what we really wanted. So what we need to do kwa hiyo list, all those action plans, we need to reshuffle to jue gani ni priority. Like every speaker coming here is talking of IBC reconstitution. So definitely that one is number one. Number two is dissolving the cabinet. Hatutaki maneno ya reshuffle because all those are incompetent leaders bado wanapelekwa kwa other cabinets to do the same mediocre work they've been doing. So number three, scrap unconstitutional positions. So na try to kusema that list that was circulating around, that is written where's the list? Our non-negotiable demands to dictator Ruto and whatever. So we need to see what ni nini tunatoa kwa hii list and what is our priority kwa hii list, because what we are doing, all these spaces, nimekuwa nikizisikiza every day. I've never gotten a chance to speak. Well, leo ndo nimepata. And everybody is always repeating, hata wenye wamekuja mbele yangu, wenye wanakuja behind me, they're likely to say the same things. And all these things ziko kwa ile list. So we need to have what is our priority. Priority ni gani? And then I wanted to add that all these movements ilianza online, and we are toning down, and hapa ndio gava inatushikia. So we need to continue putting the pressure that we had. Something like kusalimiana strategy, that strategy has really worked. So atufai ku back down. If there is a corrupt leader, sisi wote tune tukimsalimia. This is a point that I think speaker mwingine aliongea mapema, she's called Patricia. So I think I'm seconding that we need to continue with that. Iyo ili work sana. And then there's this one that I also saw somebody posted, that all these projects that politicians wanafanya and they put their names. So tunafaa we go and spray paint or something, we just write their taxpayers money kubwa. So kama like ile yenye niliona wa Vinyandeti ameandika hapo sijui nini, all those things, we just go and write big taxpayers money. So hizi vitu ni kama tunakuwa na some strike, but we are not going on the streets, because upon I think gava a little bit when we were on the streets and then they infiltrated us vile walileta goons. Also another thing, when these things happen, I think tunafaa kuwa tuna back down kidogo and see the next move. Hiyo day ya kwanza vile Anifa and Cairo, they say they are backing down. I was also against it, but nikakuja kukaa chini kufikiria, there were maybe the mode of conveying that thing, they weren't clear. So we all of us thought that they've been bought. But unaona kitu inafanyika, whether they were bought or not, the truth to that I don't know. But what I think they were trying to say is we back down. From what I've gotten is that tunge back down and tuone, because that is where Ruto a little bit when we were saying we are still going on the streets. And before he had already said that we are criminals. So you see, he brought real criminals now to justify that. And thanks to God that all business owners were wamerudi back to our side. They're saying that, oh, our protests were infiltrated. So I think with all these strategies that we have, kama kitu inafanyika, we just don't go with our chest out with kama tulikuwa decide kitu. We can back down and always think. And alafu about having leaders, that one is a very bad idea and we should not support it. We'll have leaders at some point, but we are still at a young stage as a movement and tunafaa kuendelea. So kwa hii kitu yote nimesema, to make a summary, the list that we had and they were making rounds, hizo list ziendelee kukuja. What we were doing before, it worked. The only thing that didn't work was going on the streets kwa sababu gava ilipata a way of infiltrating us. So thank you so much for the opportunity. Nimemaliza.
Okay, thank you so much for this opportunity that you have given me this morning. So I just have 4 highlighters that I could like to also highlight. The first speaker in the morning mentioned about the public baraza. I think this should be the first priority to counter the goons that infiltrated our protests. Why should we, for example, not have a public baraza at KICC where we have all Gen Z coming in? We just talk about our issue. We invite all the media houses to come and listen to us. So we can start with the KICC, go to Mombasa, go to Machakos, go to Kisumu, visit all the 47 counties and raise our agendas in a public baraza so that we can also invite our parents to come and listen to us. With that, we can be able to address the issue of the infiltration of the goons. Secondly, I could like to talk about the EACC. One speaker talked about why should we not strengthen the EACC so that it can have the prosecution power. That is very true, because what you're having currently is that institutions are failing because somehow they have been crippled by the political class. Why can't we, for example, we have realized that EACC have an issue with prosecution. Why can't we push for additional power to the EACC so that we can directly hold them accountable, so that when cases are brought before them, we can directly push them to prosecute those offenders. And also the issue of the recalling MPs. This should be actually one of agenda that should be running right now. Let's start with these vocal leaders who are busy talking to us badly, telling us that there's nothing we can do. We can just assemble ourselves and look at 3 constituencies where we can go and put our forces there so that we can collect enough signatures and start the process. If we can achieve this, then you're going to strengthen that article in the constitutions that we have the power to recall MP. You see, if we recall one, then others, I'm 100% sure we'll have to toe the line, because now that article could have been strengthened. Actually, Kenyans could realize that actually, if a member of parliament is not working, he can be recalled, and we'll have a reference point. Another issue is about our budget allocation. When budget is being read, for example, and allocations have been made, we need to go to the detailed spending of those budgets. And for example, if you're saying that we have allocated 6 billion to the office of the president, let's see, where will that money go to? Because that is where we are having the loopholes of corruption. They allocate an office a lot of money, and that money just disappear on issues that don't even make sense. Whereby the real critical institutions of our country are denied budget, are denied, for example, enough money in our hospitals. There are no medicine, and it's because they have limited budget. So when we go to the budget details, we should be calling out and saying, we gave you 10 billion and this is what you spent our money with. then we call that person to account. And the issue of the ODPP, now that is the guy having the prosecution power, we should not be pushing in that office. We should be presenting evidence. We have evidence of so and so doing ABCD. Why have you not prosecuted that? So if we start pushing on that, then ultimately we'll have this institution waking up and starting working for us. Yes, they have the constitutional mandate, and in the constitution they have been given the autonomy of power, whereby it has been put in a way that then they should not have any political interference or whichever way. So let's push them. We know that at the back door they are politically influenced, but we should always focus on, for example, Nur Haji telling him, we gave you this case. What have you done about it? How far have you gone on this issue? And if he says there's no enough evidence, we just post the evidence on the social media for everyone to see and tell us if this evidence is not worthy to be prosecuted. I think when we start calling out on institutions to start doing their work, everyone will start doing their work. And with that, we'll have to, the president will have to know that if, for example, I have to do something, then I need the backing of these institutions. And in one or the other, as we beat from the corners, we are slowly strengthening the institution. So I'll finish by saying this. The strengthening of an institution is the way that can help us truly reach the aspect of accountability. Because when you have institutions being accountable, it's easy for us to get the services that you are looking for. And lastly, I don't think the issue of the housing levy is something that should even be in people's payslip. That thing should be removed, and I think we should also push for it greatly, so that this is another avenue where government is just making money from its citizen, and I just don't like it. Thank you. Back to Kimuzi. Kimuzi, are you hearing me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but there is a problem. I don't know.
Okay. So I raised 4 issues on the public baraza, the ESCC, the recalling of the MPs, calling accountability on the budget.
Should we continue and just keep it going while Kimuzi is sorting, or do we wait?
Good day, all. Can you hear me? Or we are still fixing the technical issues?
I think
I
Laura
can hear you
just
now.
continue. Oh,
Good day, all. Kimuzi, thanks for this session. As we continue to mourn our fallen heroes during this struggle, I just have one or two things to say. Now, if we can remember history very well, and for those who were there, after the attempted 1982 coup, the late Daniel T. defined the kind of person he was until he died, literally. It woke him up, and he became such a bad person to Kenya. And that is where we are stuck in what we are now. Alikuwa kichwa ngumu, alikuwa heartless, alikuwa insensitive. He never just gave a damn. And it really, really, really pushed the country backwards. I'm sorry to say it will not be different with whoever we are dealing with now. However, this does not mean that we should sit back and just feel sorry for ourselves. As said earlier, this guy is down. He's working with his head down. Whatever happened will stick there on his face for the rest of his life. So the next immediate measures the government must take, and I'm thinking we are the government, we are the people. We could be sitting here trying to feel sorry and trying to say, we have lost this thing, nobody will ever take us seriously anymore. Maybe we should just let it fizzle out. But I'm saying no. The only tool that we have is one, unity, and two, this space that we still have now before he takes it away. Because to say the truth, I don't see us having this space as a liberal as things will happen, and it will not even be possible or even good for us to communicate the way we are communicating now. People will be highlighted and their lives made easier. So the immediate solution that we have now is just to keep pushing. We keep highlighting bad governance. We talk as much as we can. And I'm sorry to say, but we will have to wait until 3 years for elections to be done, for any change to be done in this country. But in the meantime, let us make noise when they are not doing the right thing. Let us use our online space when they are annoying us. Let us use the tool that we have, the unity that we still have among us. Let it not go away. It is sad that I am very sure it is the government that infiltrated the protests and have now made it impossible for such things to go on because they are scared. But I don't know how much they can infiltrate our minds and our spaces where we can talk about these things. So that is what I feel these are the immediate solutions we need to engage in. Let us keep talking. Let us keep highlighting bad governance. Let's not get tired about it as we soldier towards 2027 is not far. We thank God people are young here. We still have time on our side. Let us take care of ourselves and make sure that we still make noise about what the bad things they are doing. A cabinet reshuffle will never solve what the country is going through because he doesn't have goodwill. He doesn't at all. So it will not solve. He will just replace bad people with bad people. So as long as our money is still going to bad pockets, it will not going to help us. So let us keep shouting. Let him know that we know that you're doing the wrong thing. And let us make it difficult for him to again raise his head up and talk like a statements which he thinks he is and he's not. So whatever small space you occupy, whatever small noise you can make online about it, let us keep pushing. But don't feel disillusioned. Don't feel that you have failed. No. We still are following what is happening. Let us not stop following what is happening. Keep following what is happening, even at the village level. Let us shout. Let us call bad governance for what it is. And let us keep praying that the good Lord will keep being with us in all this journey. Thank you very much.
I hope you can hear me. Maybe Victor, you can talk, and then maybe a lady, one of the ladies, maybe next after Victor. Anyway, Victor, you can talk. Then we will know next.
Okay, thank you, Kimuzi. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're very you're okay. You're audible.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the space. I have a few things to mention. First, I think we have a very rotten system that requires our collective responsibility. We all need to be responsible, and it will start with me and you from the very bottom. We need to make this political position very, very dangerous to occupy, and by that I mean we need to have these discussions. If not daily, we have to highlight what is happening. We have very many people. We have 50 million people, and here at least Kimuzi and the rest wenye mko na a huge following, tunaweza kuja to highlight the thing that happen. Tuna highlight we because sasa hizi ni kama we don't have any opposition to check on the government. We are the ones to be checking on the government. We need to keep the government on check. They have made it difficult for us to achieve what we wanted, but because the system it is 61 years old, we have to bring it down pole pole, bit by bit, a stone after stone. Then our MPs, we know they are accessible. Tunaweza kusa access the top government officials kama MCSs, but tunaweza access our MPs, MCAs, governors. We know their businesses. Tunajua kama wanafanya mbaya, tunawa approach, we occupy their spaces, awapumui, na ni hivyo tutafaulu. Until 2027 we educate people about this mambo na they need to vote and they need to wachukue kura, and by the time tunafika 2027 everybody are educated. Mambo ya tribalism inaisha. By the way tumemaliza mambo ya tribalism, and appreciate embrace these spaces. Inasaidia kuunite. We have one strength in our unity, and our unity ndio ikue ndo to embrace hii unity yetu, we have to speak one voice. Hakuna mambo na kudivide voice, hiyo hatutasonga mbele. So and hatutaji ku lose any other human being or any other youth because tuko na grievances. We need to ni one step at a time mpaka mwisho. Now we have to make this position very dangerous, very very dangerous to see mtu anakuwa comedian, the next thing anafikiria ni kukuwa politician ndio aumoke. Si mtu anakuwa footballer, badala mtu aende afunze other players, youngsters kukuwa good players. Mtu anafikiria kukuwa politician ndo akuwe rich, hata musicians yani it's only in Kenya where these things happen. We have to rectify that, and ni sisi we cannot be compromised. At least opposition zenye wamekuwa Azimio for a very long time wamekuwa compromised, but sisi we cannot be compromised. We know what we are doing, we know what we want. Itakuja later, but at the end we will achieve. Thank you.
Shukran. Yvonne, maybe you can take over.
Thanks, Kimuzi. I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, we can.
Okay, so first of all, I'd like to pass my condolences to the families who lost someone. It was really sad. At Faikwa tuna lose lives. I just want to keep it short. I feel like tuko na vitu mingi sana we need to fight. Like the system completely has broken down, institutions are not working. So my suggestion is that in this fight, we need to be very targeted about our messaging. We need to choose something that the whole country, the whole world can rally behind. Now, if you noticed, ile time tuko tunasema reject finance bill, I mean, it was one message and the whole country understood we are rejecting the finance bill. So I feel like where we lost the plot is when Ruto said finance bill is rejected, it's like we lost half our fighters. Some were wondering, si amesha reject, sasa ni nini tena wanataka? So I feel like we need to go message by message because we have a list of like 10, 15 irreducible minimums, and we can't fight them all at the same time. So I'd suggest that because tumeona how things are progressing, we need to re-strategize and we need to be smart about it. So min kwa naona kama the next call is IBC reconstitution. I feel like that's something that the whole country can rally behind because they understand that tunataka to have representatives who are representing our interests and not their own pockets. There was this person mwenye alikuwa amefanya hata ile civic education space ya ku-educate watu about finance bill and what it's saying. So we can just use the same strategy of translating the reason why we are pursuing this thing at this time. Ikwe translated into different languages, iende kwa kijiji. Like when you're doing that, see exactly that tuko kwa streets, but tuna fight by passing the message. Ndio ikifika hiyo patia protest or agitate for that thing, then the whole country is behind. Even the whole world will be wondering why Ruto is not reconstituting an electoral body, why he's not allowing us to exercise our democratic right. Nona, sa tukitoka hapo, then we choose something else again. So na feel kama hii messaging yetu lazima ikuwe very targeted. Like we're all young, we understand digital, half of the people here understand digital marketing, half of the people understand PR and messaging and what needs to be done to pass across our message. So that's what I wanted to suggest because we can't, tuko na vitu mingi sana, kuna KNH is not working, EACC is not working, we need to fight GODPP, we need to remove those cabinet secretaries. We have a lot to do. So it's a marathon really. It's not a race. We can't win them all at once unless of course Ruto cooperates, na tunajua hata cooperate sahi. So we can't win them all at once. I just suggest that we run the marathon by picking a fight at a time, 2 weeks at a time. We're just fighting for one thing until it's done. We pick another struggle and we fight for it until it's done. Because we're the only people who will fix this country for sure. Na hatuwezi choka, tutapambana naye for those remainder of the 3 years mpaka things work for us and not just for the few. That's all.
Thank you, Yvonne. Next, Mwariama, you can talk. then maybe Kirote next. Mwariama. Okay, John, you can take over, no problem. You can hear me, right, guys? You can hear me?
Yeah.
Guys, if you can hear me, you can just say we can hear you.
Yes, we can
Yes, we
hear
can hear
you.
you.
Oh, John can talk. Okay, Dr. Nam. Bella, you can take over then.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope I'm clear.
Yeah.
Am I clear, Kimuzi? Okay. First of all, I would love to appreciate everyone. We shouldn't feel like we haven't done something. We've actually achieved a lot so far, from the progressive actions. Tangu tuanze demos, tulianza kama joke. Facing backlashes from our elder people. I mean, our parents, most of them, you know what they were saying as we began the demos. No one was trusting that it could work. Walikuwa tu 50-50. I could hear people say, wacha tuone vile wanaweza fanya. Like they wouldn't believe kama tungefikisha hii maneno hapa, and we've seen it work. And what I would suggest is working collectively is going to bear better results from what we've done. What I mean is, acha niseme hivi asira inanifikisha hapa. Kama tungekuwa na uwezo, tungeenda tuwe hawa watu wote. Yes, but we might not be able to do it. So tukitumia social media pia, we've seen it work. Tunafaa kuendelea na hiyo inaitwaje, na hiyo spirit. We shouldn't end it at this, although people say, I mean, if you've achieved something, you shouldn't. I think ile kitabu inaitwa 48 laws of power, kuna mahali nasema ukisha achieve kenye unataka unafaa stop at that. Na mwingine anasema no matter how good you are, you should know when to leave the stage. Sisi na we've somehow outdone hizo sayings and opinions. We can't stop at what we achieved because we still have a long way to go. Let me talk about my county. I'm not being tribal, but I have to say this. When we began doing this, the whole demo thing and everything, actually had, I'm sorry to say this, lakini influencers wetu wa Meru County, they didn't even show up. And siogopi kusema hivi, most of them were in my DMs wakiniambia,
ati stop mobilizing people, you know, sijui utafanyiwa nini, sijui nini. That was it. Niliongeza baridi. But then I was like, hata ukiingizana watu baridi, we will all suffer. Na hata mtu akipewa hiyo pesa maybe ndo akanyagia story, you have siblings, you have relatives, hata ukimake it bado utasafa kwa sababu ya black tax. They'll still be looking up to you. And I faced another challenging backlash from a certain guy. Nilikuwa kwa matatu, and this is what he said when I was trying to enlighten people what was entailed in the finance bill. This is what the guy cut short, akaanza kuniambia. He was like, sisi wenye tunaenda huko kupiga kelele, sisi ni wanafunzi wenye hatuna kazi, hatuna classes, ni wanafunzi wa KUNA na wa UON. I look at him and tell him, I myself, I'm a Gen Z na nimeshamaliza university, and the fact is we are fighting for our country. Ndio kila mtu akue comfortable kuishi. Naweza kuwa niko na job, but then how does it feel ukiangalia watu wengine wanasuffer? You know, you won't even be able to associate with them, and what kind of a life are you going to live among these people? And he continues and tells me, watoto wangu wako very busy, they don't have time ati to riot nini nyinyi mwende mtafute kazi sijui nini. That is what he told me, and it hurt. Actually, it hurt. Yeah, so we also need a lot of sensitization with people around us. They don't know what's happening. Yeah, I think that's all for now. Have a nice afternoon.
Okay, thank you. Daniel Mule, you can go ahead.
Thank you so much Kimuzi for this opportunity. I hope everybody ananisikiza na ananisikiza vizuri. Am I audible enough?
Yes, you are. I can hear you very well.
Okay, thank you. First of all, to our fallen soldiers, may their souls rest in peace, and condolences to their families. Those who are still in hospital, I hope they feel better. To me, the most immediate measure that the government must take, or we must pressure the government to do, is to reconstitute the IEBC. The IEBC is the electoral body that conducts elections that we need. See, there are two ways to ensure that we fix this country of ours. Actually, the only sure way is by having an IEBC in place, so that those who are elected can be removed, and we can put other people that we feel or we are confident they are going to change they are going to bring change into this country that we really, really need. See, there is a systemic failure in our country. Politics in our country, actually politics is the only place penye mtu anaenda kuomoka, as in it is the only place yenye mtu anajua potundu anaweza kuwa rich. As when you forget about everything else, mtu anaona tu nikiingia tu hivi kwa gava, I'm set, and my family are set because of the amount of corruption that is there. There are so many people, so many young men and women who are graduates, when you graduate, but they can't secure a job because the status of our country is so bad, the economy is so bad, there are no employment opportunities. Mtu tu unaona tu ako na masters, ako na degree, but hana job. The few opportunities zenye ziko, you have to know somebody. You have to be willing to compromise yourself at ndio upate job. Even in government, you have to bribe people, you have to know certain person. We have to change all of that. And whatever we have started, or whatever the Generation Z has started, actually, is we are at the cusp of bringing real change into this country. Change that will outlive each and every one of us. That wewe hata after maisha yako yote umeishi kwa hii dunia, your kids will say that at a certain point in time, our parents, our grandparents fought for this country and ended corruption once and for all. They were able to bring in a new system that was able to fix the mess that was there. If you listened to yesterday's Senate, the Senate proceeding yesterday, and you listened to Kisii Senator, Actually, that video was uploaded by Gabriel Ogunda, and I retweeted it. He speaks for 15 minutes, and you could hear the amount of corruption that is currently being orchestrated by the governors, the national government, everything. Yani, it is so disgusting how these people wanatubeba ujinga, that they are enriching themselves, the amount of money they are spending, alafu kutufunga macho, wanakuja kama ni kwa mchango, wanatoa hiyo pesa kidogo, yani pocket change to them, because that is pocket change, because they have billions and billions of shillings and millions of shillings. So mtu akikuja hapo hivyo wapatie 5 million 10 million hivi, tunafurahia sana and we worship them because wametupatia pesa, but in actuality that is our money wanaturudishia yenye wameiba. Yet at then ndio unaona mtu anaweza beba pesa kwa bag because they have so much of it, wanaibeba kwa bag. Na saa hizo watu ukishikwa miguu utingishwe upside down, hakuna kenye inatoka because you are broke. Yet to them they are pocketing their money. So we have to fix this whole system. My message to everybody is, first of all, do not relent, do not give up. We are at the cusp of bringing real change. If you want to be encouraged, remind yourself what you're fighting for. They're just barely trying to hold on to their to be able to bring food on their tables. So whatever it is that we are doing, do not give up. You have to keep on fighting. Let us not relent. This is the only opportunity that we have. And the other countries, by the way, they are impressed with us, and they are also, it is a movement we have started. The entire Africa, they're watching and they're very impressed with us, and they also want to implement the same in their country, because this cluster of politicians, and they have shielded themselves. They have all these other people in wanajua even if I steal this money, nikienda kotini nitajua vendafanya, the court won't find me guilty, or somehow not enough evidence, the case inakuwa thrown out, and they walk away. That is why some of the politicians that we have actually elected, they can shoot somebody and kill that person, or change affect that person's lifestyle, and they're still free. Mtu mwenye anaenda kuiba nyama, sijui anaita 1 kg, anapewa bond sijui pesa ngapi, anareleasiwa na bond ya pesa ngapi. Ukiba kuku, unashikwa unafungwa sijui 10 years. Mwameba millions and billions of shillings, ako scot free. We live in a very unfair world, and unfair country, and we have to change that. Finally, yesterday nimeona June Ruto amepewa job. Early in the year, Charlene Ruto alipewa job. So while you are there jobless, una relent, unasema hope finance bill ili drop you, so what else are we fighting for? Remind yourself that our kubwa, they have all sorted their families out. They have their kids wako na makazi, they are being paid. Wewe, you don't have it, or a person that you know hana hiyo kazi. So we have to keep on fighting. We have to keep the fire ablaze. We have to ensure the government is held accountable, and ensure that we have an IBC in place. So kama ni recall your MP, it is easy. And ninaona there's some information circulating that the president will be on Spec Space tomorrow. Not sure about who will host it or whatever, but whatever it is, the number one priority is ensuring that we have an IBC in place. The cabinet needs to go. The cabinet, the current people we have in the entire cabinet, the CSs, the PSs, those SOBs there, they are just stealing our money and doing very little or no work at all. So we have to ensure that we bring change, and this is our time. And with that, I yield the mic. Thank you very much, Kimuzi.
Okay, we can give maybe a lady next. Maybe maybe Susan can talk next. Then
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. You can talk, then next Danny.
Okay. Thanks for this opportunity to speak to everyone, Kimuzi. First of all, I would start with sending my condolences to everyone who lost a family member or a friend in these protests, and also a message of of get well soon to those who are still recovering at home or in hospital from their injuries. So I'll start with my first comment is somewhat a response to the person who was saying that we are stuck in a global financial system that is unjust and all that. I won't go into all the details of what he said, but I will address something about when he mentioned the IMF. And since some of the problems that we are having in Kenya, people are saying it's because of the debt and because we had to go to the IMF for loans. And I saw one of the explanations for what the IMF is online was that it is a lender of last resort to countries, especially developing countries, meaning you go to the IMF when you're in trouble. So it is like when you as an individual, you have already exhausted all the other credit means you have. Yani umekopa kwa kila mtu, finally you go to someone who is even like a Shylock. When you go to such a person, you don't have many options. Whatever conditions they give you for I'm giving you a loan, whatever conditions they'll impose, you have no choice. So my comment with regards to the IMF is that you only end up going there when you've already been messing your own economy. So we may not be able to change how the global financial system is at this point. But one thing we can control is the expenditure, which is currently out of control. So I mean, as much as the conditions of the IMF may be unfair, we can also just look to how did we get to this point, and it was from corruption and out of control spending by the government. Now to go on to the point of the immediate measures that we should take, or that the government should take, of the opinion, just like other people, that reconstituting the IBC is really important. And I say that because even if you focus on, let's say, we remove Ruto and we have a new president, or we reshuffle the cabinet ministers, one of the biggest roles, the biggest safeguards as a people that we have is parliament. Current parliament has shown they're not up to the task. They've admitted to being bribed to vote and all that. So if the IBC is reconstituted, that gives people an avenue to start recalling the MPs. And we may find that in some constituencies, you have to recall one time, you get a new MP who is still a bad MP, and you do it a few times until finally it gets to the mind of anybody taking that position, just like people have on this space have said. It needs to become, people need to realize this is a very serious job. So if you're getting into that role, you should be there to serve the people. Then the other thing, since again, all this is due to debt and all that, is we need to put pressure on the government to plug all these loopholes for budgeted corruption. And under this, if you go on Kimuzi's handle and under the handle for this space, I've put some links for example, there is a case of the CS for labor. Her name is Florence Bore, who has apparently she claimed what is it called? I think mileage for the last financial year. She is claiming an amount of 43 million shillings. And somebody online calculated that for you to claim that amount of money, 43 million shillings as your mileage, it means that you were driving, like it's like a going based on the prevailing mileage rates per kilometer. It's like someone traveling to the North Pole and back, and not once, as in multiple times. So it's some of these things are so ridiculous, and people, it's somebody basically lying and not caring, because for you to claim that amount of money, it means that you're used to this kind of corruption. And that's why I'm calling it budgeted corruption, because until somebody noticed that, probably she will receive that amount in mileage. Another thing is, again, under Kimuzi's handle, I've put those examples, things like
the other ways in which the MPs and all these cabinet secretaries are siphoning money out of the system is through all these trips they go on abroad. And there's been so much talk of how do you reduce these expenditures. And on the link I posted underneath Kimuzi's handle for this space is the per diem rates for different countries. It's written by Job Group, but I took the trouble of going onto the US State Department, and you can do that if you want. And you look at the per diem rates, and I use the US because it's, I mean, of course, we already know our MPs are some of the highest paid in the world. So I picked the US for that reason, that they have salaries that are sometimes even higher than representatives over there. And the per diem rates for and a per diem rate means it's a daily rate, meaning that if you see for a certain destination, like I'm based in France, for the highest job group, if somebody travels to France, they're getting $700 per day. I think the lowest job group in that list is like $387 per day. So some of these rates really need to be reduced downwards for people like MPs, because this is why people are always going on unnecessary trips abroad. And I've had the fortunate experience of being able to travel in my job. And I can tell you, for many of these places, a rate of $700, $300 per day means that, you know, you're probably staying in the best hotels. And even if, you know, apart from the president who needs to, you know, to come with a big contingent of security so they can't just stay anywhere, most of these rates are exorbitant. And so in my view, some of these rates needs to be reduced downwards. And this is something we can put pressure on the government, because foreign travel is not a necessity. There are people in hospital who don't have medicine. Their teachers were not being paid, but money is instead going to these trips. Or even cap the number of trips that MPs are taking per year, cabinet ministers are taking per year. And for things like mileage, you have a certain maximum amount of money that you can claim for mileage. Because if you're going on so many trips just to be able to claim money, we need to just have a cap that you cannot claim beyond this amount. If you choose to continue traveling, that's on you to finance by yourself. And finally, because someone said that after reject finance bill, it's like people got a bit lost on what else should we focus on, what else should be discussing. And in my opinion, the next big thing for everybody, irrespective of your status in society, is health. There are people have been talking about the new system called SHIF, comparing it to NHIF, comparing the amounts of money people are being deducted. I think this should be the next big discussion, and I would put it to you, Kimuzi, and anybody else here who normally hosts spaces. This should be the next big discussion, because people are being deducted very, I think now they've said it's 2.5% of your salary. I don't know whether that's gross or net, but people are being deducted money and they're not getting services. There is no drugs in the hospitals. You know, we already know medical interns are not posted, so the hospitals are understaffed. Health is something that affects each one of us, even if you're in the diaspora, because if you have family member who is sick, a friend who is sick, we are always getting appeals for Harambe, send money for this person who has cancer, you know, appeals for money so someone can go to India. So I think for me, that's the next big thing, because irrespective of who you are, you will be affected in some way by the dysfunction in the health system. And I personally think that the current CS for health should actually just be removed and have somebody else who is competent, because she has shown that she is incompetent. She doesn't know what the sector needs, and things have actually gotten worse under her tenure. So those are my points, and I thank you so much, Kimuzi, for hosting these spaces and for also giving me the opportunity to speak. Thank you.
Thank you guys. And Andy and Milan will take over the cost, and they will balance both the ladies and the men, and they will be picking randomly the mic. Don't DM them. Let them just pick randomly for everyone to have a voice. And Andy, you can go on.
Yeah, we can have to link it then, Stephanie. Tulingi, am I audible? Okay, Stephanie.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. I wanted to say my condolences to the people we lost during the protests. And then my 2 cents on all of this is that the government is literally flooding our system because we have a system of Gen Z and millennials that we want action to be taken, but they are flooding our system with information because since last Thursday, a lot of information has been coming in, like someone has done this has happened, like a lot of information. People from the government are wanageuziana, like kumekuwa na information mingi imekuwa ikikuja, na because they know that our phones are our weapons, what they are doing is flooding our forms and our platforms with a lot of information so that we can't focus on one thing. And the way we focused on the finance bill until the president early withdraw, that's what we should do. We should all focus on one thing because tukifocus on one thing hawataweza kutuseparate because wanaona divide haita work. Sasa Kenya wanafanya ni kutupatia information mingi tujui place yenye tutaanza. And for my observation, we should start with the IEBC because the president was supposed to like appoint IEBC and he's literally buying time, and I don't think he'll do it anytime soon until we press our agenda for him to appoint the IEBC because we can see like these MPs and these government officials wameanza sasa kupata hiyo kiburi tena, and kama hatuna IEBC we can't like move forward, so we have to like focus on one thing on IEBC. Then another thing is the civic education that we should provide to parents and also to our young people who wenye wanalipwa kuharibu like other people's businesses and goods, because if we educate everyone and tell them like this and this and this needs to be done, ama ukipatiwa hido for this day haita kuhelp, I think we will be able to move forward in one direction, because history ya kushinda tumepatiwa information from all sides, tunapata tu like this person did this, hatutaweza kujua like what specific thing we have to focus on. So we shouldn't let this system be broken down with us accepting a lot of information. Kama kuna information umesikia imetolewa ama imesemwa, yes, we will respond to it, but we won't act on it like immediately. Kama history this year's for hospital, alianza tu kuongea all of a sudden na hakuwa ameongea like all those days when people started getting hurt, she didn't even talk about anything. So we shouldn't let like our agenda be sidetracked. If we are right now, if we want the IEBC, let's focus on the IEBC. Let's have one hashtag that will trend, because right now we don't even have something that can trend kabisa. Like the way we had the finance bill, kitu ili trend. It was almost hitting like 4M. So we should have one hashtag that will trend. Because wanataka tusiende kwa streets, we will have to work online until we find a solution that we can be able to go back to the streets. And then after AEBC, we can now start slowly. AEBC, the MPs should be recalled, and also we can now work on the cabinet. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. We can go to Dr. Kasim. Dr. Kasim? Ama ya audible ama najiongelesha? Tilingi?
You are audible, nakusikia.
All right, we can give
Stephanie, kindly mute your mic.
Okay, twende. James ama Dr. Kasim seems yuko ready. James Murio.
Can you get me?
Yeah, we can get you.
Okay, thank you. My contribution, maybe first, if I may say about it, I think this fight for Ruto, it has to go on up to the end. I think this guy has to go. He's just a tyrant. If we give Ruto time to come back, we are done. One, the issues I may wish as we meet here, we address. Because we are so much dealing with the whole cabinet has to go, but there is a real rot in this government. Number one, as we think of any engagement, we should look at the retirement age. Most of the ambassadors in the diaspora, most of the PSs are people above 60. Look at the case of the likes of Julius Karagi. You retire as the Chief of General Staff, the next day you are appointed as an ambassador. When will the youth get those spots? We need them. This should be a rule. This should be in the constitution. Immediately you retire from any job, you should not be appointed an ambassador, any PS, any constitutional commission. You mean a 40-year-old cannot lead KICC? A 30-year-old cannot lead the Salary and Remuneration Commission? Why should the Megich, who is over 65 years, be there? If you go to the Parliamentary Service Commission, we have the likes of Johnson Muthama, who is over 70 years. Then we are being told there are no jobs for the youth who are learned. We apply for the jobs, they don't give us. They give the jobs to those who have retired. I think we have to handle that. Now, the other one is about the kind of corruption we have seen. Even if we allow Ruto to reconstitute anything, there is nothing Ruto. He will still bring his cronies to come and steal from us. Then let's have any reconstitution. We need cabinet secretaries who are learned. The other time, the letters for Aisha Juma were circulating all of already with a D- is a whole CS in a country where there are professors, where there are doctors, where there are young people who have masters and other degrees. Susan Nakumecha is a midwife. She did nursing. We have people who have a bachelor's degree in medicine. Why can't they be given the job? I think Kenya, if we allow Ruto to come back, there is nothing he will do. And he will come to fight us. We should not. And if ever he comes to that thing, the X space, of which I don't think we should allow him, let him tell us why he is appointing retired officers to public positions when there are youth who need those jobs. Otherwise, thank you so much, Kimuzi. Thank you so much, Adi. We'll keep working. We'll push this government to the end until they all go. And if we are to ever constitute IEBC, we don't want anybody above 60 in that IEBC. Let jobs go to youth. Let ambassadors be youth. Otherwise, we can't take a government like that anymore. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, thank you, Dr. Kasim. We can go to a lady now. Bree.
Yes, thank you very much, Kimuzi, for this opportunity. I am in the PR space, and I have reason to believe that the conversation that is now going on could possibly be a PR stunt between the SRC and some politicians. I could be wrong, but it's highly likely because in the midst of all that was going on, how come the SRE all of a sudden is sharing the salary amendments, and then now everyone is against the salary amendment? So we have to be very careful not to believe everything and not to take everything at surface value. Now, secondly, we must not give up because the very fact that goons were hired to come and make us lose social legitimacy means that what we were doing was working. If goons who would not have been hired, it maybe, the fact that we were international, the fact that everyone was making reference to Kenya, this scared the hell out of them. And so we must not give up. We can retreat for now as we come up with better strategies, but we cannot give up. Street campaigns work. Online campaigns have worked. And so giving up is right now, I know people are like, now what if we go to the streets again? We have not lost social legitimacy. Why? Because the business community that was supposed to turn against us are not against us because people are no longer fools here in Kenya. We can read what is happening. So what I would just like to say, because I have only 3 minutes, it's we must not give up. We still have social legitimacy and we can reorganize ourselves. I saw somewhere where somebody was saying instead of doing a marching campaign across Nairobi, we could occupy major roads and just sit and have silent protests. Silent protests have worked. So instead of, so that if some goons are hired to go, we can find an easier way of separating ourselves from the goons who are in the CBD doing the damage, because we will be on the major roads and not inside the CBD. So I think that could be something that we could think about or other, but we need to push it. I had somebody saying we push it online and offline. And right now we have online podiums, even as we look for other opportunities and other strategies. Let us push it. Let us push those hashtags. I have a small following, but I always retweet things by Kimuzi and everyone else who is supporting this initiative. I'm always retweeting. And so we just need to really support each other. This is not the time to give up. I can see today, it's not unfortunate, but we have 5,200 people in this space. And I think that as we continue to have these spaces, people are going to be encouraged again, because there were times Kimuzi would host and we would have, I don't know, maybe 30,000, 40,000, all the way to, there was a time we had 138,000.7. Yeah. And so this just says the more we are having these conversations, we have to convince the message, civic education, we are going to get there. Thank you so much.
Awesome. We can go to Dr. huyu mwenye ako na Arabic name, MD.
Okay. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, my name is Ramadan. I'm a doctor, a medical doctor. First of all, I want to say I pass my condolence to the family of soldiers who have lost their lives in the line of duty while trying to defend even those people who are throwing tear gas and bullets at them. One thing that I should say is that we are dealing with a narcissist and a tyrant. And it's not only at the top, but everywhere, from the parliament, all the houses. If you will listen to the majority leader, Aaron Cheriot, the way he was talking yesterday, he was trying to feel sorry about the situation and something like that. And that is just a character of a narcissist. When he is attacked about something, they will try and make the situation feel as if like, you know what, I'm also going through the same and you have to apologize to it. Now, one thing that this government always and has always invested in, it is power of forgetting. We, the citizens, we are so forgetful. When we talk about something, the next minute, once that thing has not even been solved, we forget about it. We talked about the US trip. Now we've forgotten about it. The guy went to US with 50 delegates. Can we just ask questions about the role of each and every delegate that went to the US? What was the role of Itumbi? What was the role of Butita? Why were they going there and using our money? The only thing that can make us successful, it is consistency in our movement. And we having a one agenda. We had reject finance bill, it was rejected. Right now we have a lot of hashtags. We can just have a timetable or a schedule of each week we having one hashtag. Those people who are hiring goons, the likes of Sakaja at City Hall, we have to have a day for them. As these guys have made our lives unbearable, we must make their life unbearable on the ground. They should never address anyone in church and any function. Yesterday, the senator of Kisii, Onyanka, talked about every 20 years. And that is what the government is very, very afraid of. Every 20 years, whenever Kenya wants a change, there is 20 years of a struggle for it. Before we gain independence, the guy said we had a rebellion thing for 20 years. Again, 2002, Moi ruled us for around 24 years. We decided to do away with him. That is 20 years. From 2002, when Kibaki took power, it is now 20 years. Because plus 20 from 2002, that is 2024. We are not seeing any change because now people who overpromised us of about change, we are now tired. We want them out. And that is what is making these people very, very afraid of us. But let us not be forgetful. Let us not forget issues that we are having. These, like for example, medical doctors, they said that, the program has been there ever since for more than 50 years. And medical interns have been getting that salary. Now, instead of them talking about the net salary that a doctor goes with, a medical intern goes with at home, they talk about the gross salary. Because the gross salary is around like 200, the way they were above 200K, but a medical intern goes home with around 140K. Something that they will never talk about that net salary. They always talk about the gross salary. The MP or Salasia shared his payslip, had 1 million as gross salary. We never talk about that gross salary. For them, when they are talking about their salary, it's around 700, 800K. You get. So for them, they always turn tables to make now citizens look as if they are or they are the ones who are greedy, but for them, they are not greedy. You get. MPs should all be recalled. But all these need a schedule. We need to go step by step. If next week we say during our Tuesday and Thursday protest will be Sakaja out, Sakaja should go out. If next week it's about all those incompetent CS to go out, they should go out. The problem is that now, if you are a tyrant or you are a narcissist, you don't get people who look bright to get positions. You see this CS, the way they have been arranged. It is actually, let me say, it's a tactic by Ruto. You see Kindiki is a very bright guy. He was taken to a ministry that he won't even understand. A very bright guy, but he's in interior. He can't be taken to a place where he can perform. Now, those other departments like health. Now, Humincha, who is a very incompetent guy and not someone who's not well learned, and you see, Magoha, if you compare between the two CS of education, they let Magoha and this one who gave people fake results. You get teachers. Now that is how a tyrant works. He gives people who are incompetent so that all the decision will have to come back to him to be asked so that he can call the shots. That's the problem now. The midterm was to be extended. No, the starting of the midterm, you get, was to be announced early because of the protest that had been given. That we had given a notice of our protests. But you see, the guy had to wait up to midnight. Why? Because he's consulting the guy at the State House. They don't even have powers. And that's the way he controls everything. The moment you say we want to reshuffle the CS, it's going to take Nahomincha to interior, where the guy has no idea of even how banditry works. Why? Because he wants to be the one who is going to be calling the shots. And that's the biggest problem that we have in our country. So let's have a weekly agenda. Today, if this week you're going to protest about something till it is done. Reject finance bill went well. Right now, we've been flooded with a lot of information, as one of the speaker has said. And that now makes us lose focus. Now they are saying that you don't want an increase in salary. Why? Because they know that now doctors, the interns have been placed on hold. Why? Because they wanted to reduce the salary. Now they'll be like, for us, we've also not accepted increase in salary, so you guys go with the salary that we have suggested. And it is as if we've now stopped paying taxes because the finance bill was rejected. Now they are coming with all sorts of blackmail. Just imagine if this guy Sifuna, very bright guy, has 377k on his ETC. That is just one guy. Now calculate all the guys who have their ETCs funded by the government. That is all that I can say, but let us get focused. Let us have weekly agenda. Let us have this country and government accountable for each and everything. And that Charlene Ruto, those guys who are going to give Charlene Ruto space to talk, who is she speaking to us as? She thinks that we are there like her younger brothers and sisters. She can come and tell us we are being misguided. We know our course, and let us stay focused with that course. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Next speakers, tafadhali tukue brief kidogo ndo tuweze kupea almost everyone the mic. We have at least 100 requests. Next we go to Ivy Shell Smith, if she's ready.
Hi.
If she's not, hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll be quick. In as much as we want this whole thing. Okay, kwanza, the space thing. Why do we need to host the president in our space? Like the same things amekuwa akisema kwa TV hizo tu ndo atakuja kutuambia. He's a narcissist. No one has been held accountable. Hakuna makosa yoyote yenye amekubali akasema enyewe hapa nilikosea, I apologize. He turns it around to us. Hakuna polisi ameshikwa. There are so many faces zenye tumejaribu kuanika, tumejaribu kuziretweet huko of people holding guns towards Protestants, but nothing have been done. Hakuna mwenye ameshikwa. Hakuna MP ameshikwa even though they publicly admitted to corruption. Yani walisema tulilipwa, mimi nilichukua 2 million. They did that publicly. Hakuna mwenye ameshikwa. I believe it's an offense to do that, to be paid in order to vote against something or something like that. Hakuna mwenye ameholdiwa accountable. Another thing, hizi stories za MPs zote ni PR. Hizi za wanaongezewa mshahara, hatutaki kuongezewa mshahara. Hizi ni ma-PR tu za ufala. Walisema hawana pesa ya kulipa civil servants. The teachers, madaktari, but they have money to pay for goons. Like, this whole government is fucked up and they just keep messing with our heads. We started something nice. Waliona tutashinda, wakaanza sasa kututumia goons. Wakaanza kutuharibia jina sisi, which was not right. Sahi Ruto anataka kuhold space ya nini? I appreciate that Kimuzi is so against it. I like that. Because there's nothing new and something different he will say. It's the same thing. And I hope we can get back to that point where we started this whole thing and the momentum was good. I hope we can get back there. And this time we don't stop until every single agenda have been done with.
Ivy, we can go to Sir Raxon. I don't know even pronounce properly.
Yeah, you did. I would like to start by saying may the souls of our fallen soldiers find peace and solace in eternity. May they not experience the harsh phase, another harsh phase like we're experiencing in Kenya today. And my heartfelt condolences to their families. Now, I will take 1 minute or two, at most two. In Africa, we have had many dictators over the time since independence. But the man I liken most to with ours is Mobutu Sese Seko, because of 3 things. One, Mobutu was very much impressed by the United States of America, being accorded state visits, all the things that he was showered with, and aid and all that. 2 is how he was inept, stashing trash in his own pockets. And I say that purposely because I will never understand how a sensible person would accumulate incompetent leaders around himself while they have the opportunity to have the best. I mean, the country has the best. So you have a shop, badala uende kitu inaweza kusaidia, unarokota tu takataka kujiwekea kwa mfuko. And the third thing is how Mobutu put Congo, Zaire in the situation it is today. And he did that because he created a vacuum in leadership. How did he do that? Mobutu, as a general who overthrew a government, used to promote his generals without merit. So he killed all the trainings that are supposed to be disciplined. Now, my point was to drive to this third point, because he literally created a vacuum in the leadership of that country. And it is that reason that the Congo is in the state it is today. Now, this government is rotten on all fronts. If we don't focus on one objective at a time, the juggernaut of this revolution shall be dragging too much. It would be hard to make a step, too corrupt. So we can have so many things to deal with that if we don't pick one thing at a time, we will lose focus and we will never achieve one thing. There's one thing that I want to point out outside the point that I was driving at, that the other countries in Africa are looking at us and to see what we're going to achieve from our demos and and how mobilizing how we are. If we don't achieve our objectives right, then the other governments are going to suppress them too with the same tactics that ours is doing, and we will fail, and we will have also failed other countries. So my suggestion is, like the other speakers who have spoken before me, if we can have one objective, and it's not even weekly, we have the reconstitution of IBC, we pick on that objective and we push it to the last minute until it is achieved. There's one thing that I've read, I need someone who is vast enough in it to clarify it, is that the IBC commissioners cannot hold elections unless they have served in their offices for 4 years. That means in one way or another, the government of today might extend the date of elections from 2027 to a later date, depending on the time these IBC commissioners have been put in office. So that's something that needs to be looked at, and looked at it seriously. So in order to not have a vacuum in leadership, there's a need to have the IBC commissioners in place and in office. That should be our vocal point. That is our placards. All the recalcitrant groups, anywhere that we are pushing, they need to have, this is the matter that we need to have resolved. And if we have other distractions, like we can have things as sensitive like the salaries and all that, let them be discussed. But we stick with one thing, that we need the reconstitution of IBC, so that we can never have at any moment in life a vacuum in leadership of this country. And that's my input. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. We can go to Danny.
Thank you so much. I'm
If he's
here.
not
Yes,
ready.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Thank you so much
Go ahead.
for the space. First of all, I would like to pass my condolences to our fallen martyrs, and also those who are sick and recuperating at the hospital. Quick recovery. Let me start by saying that revolution is not easy, and it doesn't happen in a day. It happens gradually, step by step, and it takes time. And on that, I would like to say that I will urge us to handle one issue at a time, as day by day pass by. First of all, reconstituting IBC is not only a priority, but it is an urgent necessity. We should start by pushing for that. And also, we recall these MPs. I would like to say that we push one agenda at a time. First of all, we push for reconstituting of the IBC. Then we can move to the next. We can even choose if it is recalling the MPs. We mobilize countrywide so that we do it together, like constituency by constituency, but we check on all of them. I would like us to refer to Article 1 of the Constitution that states clearly that the power is invested in people. We, the people of Kenya, we are the ones who have the power. We give these people, these MPs, power to represent us, but they go there, they misuse it. They dwell on their greed, corruption, and all sorts. So we should always remind them that we can take back the power we gave to them. We should not get tired. We elect one, akifanya mchezo tunamtoa, we put another one. With that, we will be able to put our memo clear that we don't want any corruption in this government. Something else I would like to point out is the DCI Kenya. The DCI Kenya actually, they have been abducting people. They have been, wamekuwa kishika, other than abduction, they have been arresting people, and these people are being charged. But I've not seen them arresting any rogue or any killer police cop so far. Actually, personally, I've been tagging them and even posting the images of those police officers who have been killing people. We have their images online, but I've not seen them doing anything about it.
Andy?
Sorry?
Oh, sorry. Nani ameongea? Danny,
Okay.
go ahead. The rest kindly to mute mic.
Personally, I've not seen them arresting any rogue police officer or any killer cop so far. I've been tagging them and putting images of those cops, but we've not seen anything. But again, I will urge us not to get tired of doing it until these police have been brought to book. Something else, the EACC is not doing their job well. They are going for this small fish, leaving the big fish. I think as we push for reforms, we should also keep the EACC on check. Imagine having someone working for Nairobi County government earning a salary of 50,000, but this person has property of over 300 million or almost coming to 1 billion. How? This is corruption. This is our money being looted, but these people, there's nothing being done to them. Reason being, hii pesa wanaiba wanakula na the likes of kina Sakaja and the president. Hii pesa wanagawana wote. So we should also push for this. We want accountability trickling down, starting from the president going down. The CSS, most of them are not which word should I use? Are not competent. There is a lot of incompetency with them. This is a point that most of us have raised it. CS Nakumecha and Mithika Linturi, if I can just mention a few, these people should start by going home immediately. Also, the CSS position should be abolished completely. There is a lot of wastage in this government. Ruto is awarding his sycophants at the expense of us Kenyans, creating even offices that are not supposed to be there. These offices should be abolished completely. We don't want to see them. Personally, I don't have a problem with paying tax, but my problem is how is this tax being used? A lot of wastage, a lot of spillage. We are seeing it in the government. We should also advocate for that. The judiciary system is working for the state. That is why justice is only being served to the few. We've seen justice to only those who have money. In Kenya, if you don't have money, you will not get any justice. That is the plain truth. The judiciary is working for the state. Reforms also, we want reforms on the judicial system. And by doing this, I would like to urge all the lawyers and advocates who are in the space, kindly, if you can enlighten us on some of the matters to do with the judicial system, so that at least we know how we are going to push for these reforms, we will really appreciate on that also. Corruption in Kenya is finishing us. I would like to point that even this KDF, you can't join KDF if you don't have 500,000 minimum. But then again, this as youths, most of our parents don't have the money. We've gone to school, tumesoma, we have certificates, but hii pesa utaitoa wapi so that you can join? So it keeps on going on and on day by day. We get that these people who are in the government, they are giving jobs to their people. Nepotism at its best. Sisi youths tunabaki hatuna jobs, tunabaki we don't have any way forward. So by that, I would also like to urge us to be vigilant to this nepotism going on. We call them out so that we can stop it, at least so that even as youths, we can procure the jobs. At least if we apply jobs to Jue, tukona even 50% of chance of getting, because right now our percentage chance of getting the jobs, I can say it's even 0.1%, because inakuanga kwa gavani, do you know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody? So you find most of us, we don't know that somebody who knows somebody. We end up remaining there. Or if it comes to kutoa do, we don't have the money, and we want to stop this thing of corruption so that at least the level field the playing field, equal levelized for all of us. Something else, the SHIF that was reconstituted from NHIF is just a money making scheme. Somebody on Twitter highlighted it. I think it was Nyakundi. Kindly, we should refer to the tweet so that those who are not enlightened on it, we should be enlightened on it. Court orders are not being followed in Kenya, not at all. Live ammunition are still being used. Abduction are still going on. Police brutality is still going on. It is like they're showing us the middle finger, that attitude of we don't care. That is why I'm calling on all the advocates and the lawyers to enlighten us on which way forward to go. Last but not least, again, I'll remind us of the Article 1 of the Constitution. The power is invested in the people. We give them the power. If they don't use it well, we take it back. With those remarks, I would like to urge us not to relent, not to sichoke. We should not tire. Let us keep on pushing. We are not going to achieve this in a day or in a week or in a month, but as days goes by, as we push it harder, we will get where we want to get and we will reach where we want to reach. Thank you so much and have a good day.
Thank you. Next, we can go to Jay Njoroge.
Okay, thank you so much, Kimuzi. And hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much for giving me an opportunity. I think it's the first time I'm getting this opportunity to speak on your space. So allow me, first of all, to send my condolences to all those people that lost their lives in this struggle. Yeah, let's make it worthwhile. Let us do it for them, at least not give up now. So I'll try to be as brief as possible so that I can highlight everything I wanted to highlight. Number one, there has been a lot of distractions, and this has been worrying me a lot because you can see that there have been even suppression of hashtags, the infightings. People are fighting amongst each other, and this makes me sad because we are being distracted from the objective. For example, right now, we've been talking about how people are saying, okay, we have won. Some are saying that the finance bill was the key thing and it has been dropped. But even just stopping there and posing a question to us all, has this even gone through? Has it really been withdrawn? Because we know that the president has no legal mandate of executing that order that he gave of withdrawing. He has no legal mandate of doing that. So are we following up on that? Is anybody following up on that? Because we know that if nothing is done, as things stand, the bill will pass into law automatically. And I've personally taken the initiative of trying to contact some lawyers and members of parliament like Otiende Omolo, who is both a lawyer and a member of parliament. I asked him about the way forward, what is happening or what should be done. Maybe do we need another bill tabled to undo this or to officially withdraw this bill? I do not know. So as you can see, there are so many distractions, and maybe these distractions have been sponsored so that to derail us from our main goal. Number two, this is just a suggestion which I've also heard from other spaces. Maybe it would be prudent, if we are not already doing it, that we start taking memos. We have these minutes of these meetings we are having, because there have been a lot of good suggestions from people, and because so many people are speaking in these spaces, we cannot have everything that has been suggested in our mind. And so it would be prudent to be writing these things down. And so maybe if there is a new point that has been highlighted, then that one can be noted. We could be having maybe 2 people volunteering every single hour to do the minutes, and then after an hour is over, then other 2 take over, and then maybe they compare notes. We have 2 people because maybe if one has connection issues, the other one can actually record everything, and then they consolidate and come up with the action point. Then I've heard here about the need to be focused and just run with one agenda. And while I think this is sensible, I want to add something to that. If, for example, we say that, okay, we are now focusing on the reconstitution of IEBC. If we only focus on that, what will happen? what will happen with other things? And how long will this take? Because if we say, like, we will now maybe start pushing about the recalling of MPs once the IEBC has been reconstituted, how long will this take? So I think we can have one major theme, like maybe our main target for now is to have the IEBC reconstituted, but as that is going on, we can be doing other things, because, like, for example, the process of recalling MPs requires collection of signatures. So we can start with that, which is actually the most significant part of the recalling of the members of parliament, because collection of those signatures takes a considerable amount of time. But also we could be doing other things, so that we have our main agenda, but even as we are doing that, even as maybe we are placing that hashtag of reconstitute IEBC, we are also pushing on other things like accountability in government, because I believe if we give this government a chance to breathe, if we relent on the pressure that we are putting, then this government will recollect itself, it will reorganize itself, and it will crash us. So the main agenda for me is to keep the pressure there. And there's another thing that I want to mention. I know that this whole issue of Ruto must go has been divisive, but please, let us not allow it to be a divisive issue. Let it not divide us. Of course, the reason as to why we are so angry is because of this failed government. And who is the object of this government? I mean, who is the head of this government? It is Ruto. And so our aggression and our anger, the object of our anger should remain the president. And whether we are looking at Ruto must go as a symbol or even literal, it doesn't matter. Whether you believe that maybe we should start with other things like reconstitute IEBC first and then do maybe another thing and then maybe later we come to Ruto, it doesn't matter. The point is we have to keep the pressure, and because we are angry with this government and Ruto is the face of this government, we must keep saying that Ruto must go, even as we push for other agenda in an orderly way, as we will agree. And I agree that we should be orderly, but let us not drop the hashtag Ruto must go. And while I'm saying that, I want also to urge those people here who have considerable number of followers. For some of us who have 1,000 followers and maybe others who have just a couple of hundreds, it is hard to make our voice heard. We are still doing it. We are still retweeting. We are still posting. But let those people who have also bigger audiences do it, and do it even more. Those who have 10,000, 50,000, hundreds of thousands, let us do this. Maybe we can have Ruto must to go as our overall hashtag that will be ongoing regardless of what we agree as our theme for the week. But that one has to be there, and we have to keep doing it. And then finally, because I know that there are so many things that have been said, somebody called Joe Maria also mentioned about corruption, and he said that we should start it ourselves, and we should not maybe just assume that those that are in power, those that old people are the problem. Because remember that the most corrupt people, the likes of Mudavadi and Ruto, they were once young people like ourselves, like the millennials here and the Gen Zs. So it is a culture thing, and we have to start by ourselves. We cannot just assume that automatically all of us that are here will be upright and they will fight corruption on that. No, that will not happen unless we are deliberate and we start by ourselves. Like, for example, he gave an example of taking bribes and giving bribes to cops. So we cannot call and try to oversight a corrupt government if we are corrupt ourselves. So let us be deliberate about living right and being corrupt free. And even when maybe an incident like that of a police trying maybe to ask for a bribe from you and you refuse and you just decide to go ahead and take that court order and go to court and pay the whatever fine you pay, please just do that and post it online. It's not just for the likes or maybe for popularity, but that will inspire somebody to also live right. So as we advocate for an accountable government, let's also try to be accountable ourselves. And I know that when we do that, we will be making a lot of sense. And then finally, on civic education, I know we want even to recall parliaments because we are angry. And myself being a millennial, I've seen several elections. And in every election cycle, guys, every election cycle, people are as angry as we are right now. They are always angry, and they are always saying that we have to bring people, different people. But what happens? We still change people, but we don't change the character of the people. We elect different animals, but of the same character. We replace pigs with hyenas and wolves. When we are tired with a wolf, we exchange it with a pig. And so at the end of the day, we don't change anything. So this is my call, that we continue with civic education. Let us educate the population that it's not just the fact that your MP is on the ground. Si ati yako hapo anafanya kazi anawatengeneza hizo cheap barabaras and then you are happy. No. Try to educate them that being present on the ground is not enough. That representation is not the only thing that these MPs are entitled. Teach them about their jobs. Let them know that an MP has to represent, he has to legislate, and he has to oversight. Right now, we have a current crop of MPs who do not even know their job. They were asked why they voted yes, despite their constituents telling them in very clear terms that they should reject the finance bill. And they told them that, okay, the president says that we vote yes, and the party position for UDS is for us voting yes. And so for that reason, we will vote yes, because we were voted in by UDA and all that. So they don't know their job. We have some MPs who cannot legislate. I mean, and I'm not exaggerating this. We know there are people who cannot even swear. Even reading that swearing statement in parliament, even in Swahili, they cannot string two sentences that are both grammatical and rational. But we expect these people to legislate. And now, this was not a problem. But I think right now, after Finance Bill 2024, I think the masses are appreciating. Jesus Christ.
So you can, Jay, I guess we'll come up with Milan. You can add no someone a request.
Okay, sorry guys, I disconnected.
Yeah, you had disconnected, but
maybe you can. Okay, I was talking about our role in civic education and the fact that we want to recall MPs. I mean, what guarantees do we have that we will replace them with the right MPs? Because as I was saying, I'm a millennial and I've seen several elections, and we have anger about, in every election cycle, people are angry and they want to replace MPs. But in the end of the day, we don't have different people on the leadership. So maybe we can be aggressive on this thing of educating the masses on the roles of members of parliaments. There are members of parliaments who do not even know their roles. Like, for a good example is recently with the Financial Bill 2024, there were MPs who were saying that they will be voting yes, not because the members of their constituencies are for it, but just by the mere fact that UDA told them to vote yes. And they went ahead and did that. So that is not representing the people. Number two, the second role they have is to legislate. Some of these members of parliament, as much as that they are available on the ground, they cannot string two sentences that are both grammatical and rational. So how do you expect these people to make laws? How do you expect these people to legislate? And finally, we heard even from confession from other members of parliament that people were paid 2 million shillings so that they can vote yes. And yet, these are the MPs that we are expecting them to carry out the third role, which is to oversight the executive. So, as much as we want to recall these MPs, let us also look at the chances that exist of replacing these MPs with other MPs that are equally worse. So we can get serious with civic education, and I think we'll get somewhere. So that's all I had to say. Sorry for that disconnection, but thank you, Kimuzi, for giving me an opportunity to share this. So let's keep the fight going. Thank you.
So it's all right. Hannah Ali. Then from there we'll go to AJAABU something. Hannah, if you're ready.
Yes, thank you very much. Could you give me like 2 minutes? Can you put somebody else before me?
All right.
Thank you, sweet. Thanks.
AJAABU.
Hi.
And meanwhile, if you've spoken, kindly unaweza drop ndo tuweze kupea watu wengine. There are many requests. Thank you. Ibeka, you can go ahead.
Thank you, Andy and Kimuzi. Mine will be mostly to reiterate what other people have said, echo Jay, what he said, but there are a few things I've been in other spaces and I've seen there's a group out there, they say they've brought up a Google form where you can fill, and then it has groups that you can join where you are interested. I think that's one thing that we can do. The other thing, and I think I mentioned this to Kimuzi, is one, of course, reconstitute IEBC and make sure that we are not being imposed leaders. Let's not allow Ruto to choose for us who is going to be there in that IEBC. The other thing is, I think once we have the IEBC, whether we are going to do maybe work with the LSK to do the IEBC for us, that will be better. I want to assume that they are actually not corrupt. That's my assumption. The other thing is, once we do IEBC, I think maybe this one now, I think this goes to the lawyers, people who understand the law best, that maybe we can do a referendum, change the constitution in that we seal the loopholes that have allowed these people to actually rape the constitution. Because as you see today, they've done too much amendments to that constitution, so much so that whatever was promulgated in 2010 is no longer what is there today. And that is why you see all these stupid things that are going on with our leaders. So my point is, yes, we do IEBC, maybe do that hashtag, reconstitute IEBC. Our goal, of course, ultimate goal is to let Ruto must go, but IEBC, reconstitute, referendum, constitutional change, then of course we remove all these leaders, and yeah, from there now we'll be able to go. And then finally for me is civic education. Anywhere you are, any group you are, just say, just bring something out about enlightening people. WhatsApp groups ya familia, ingia hapo, ongea. Somehow utasema zingine zitapita, zingine zitakataliwa, but the point is talk something about civic education so that people know, so that this rot that is in our society goes away once and for all. Thank you very much.
Who was Moitalel? Shadrach.
Should I go next if Shadrach is not there?
If he's not ready, you can go ahead.
Okay, doesn't seem like he's there. Thank you guys for the space.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Kimuzi, Andy, Dani, I think. Thank you for the space, been listening. A lot of great submissions, but to me, to be honest, I'm not gonna tell anybody what to do, but whatever I'm saying, that is me. That's just how I see it. It doesn't have to necessarily go with what everybody, or maybe the masses of submissions, a lot of submissions given here. First thing, tell me how that of all things that are happening now, that this members of parliament think it's okay to let Linturi get away with it. They've saved his skin. The committee, they voted to save him. In all this mess that is going on, for me, that's a slap on the face. I don't know for anybody else, over 7 MPs who were in the committee just decided that Linturi didn't do anything wrong. He's one of us. So we got to save him. With everything that is happening right now, I don't know if there's anybody in his right mind would have done that. So for me, it's as simple as that. Somebody saying that we need the IABC to be, I don't know, who am I asking to do that? Is it the same people who have got us to the mess that we are in? It's like asking somebody to do an exam and then tell him to mark your own exams. So if I'm doing an exam and then I'm asked to mark my own exams, then, well, we know what's going to happen. I'm going to give myself some, I'm going to rate myself. And now how am I going to rate myself? Definitely I won't fail myself. I'll make sure I don't fail it because I'm marking my own exams. So this idea of saying Ruto has constituted IABC, for me, I'm sorry, it feels like you're asking somebody to mark his own exams. Why does he have to be the one who has to institute it? I don't know. For me, it still remains Ruto must go. If anything that has happened today, anything that has happened, I mean, with this 7 MPs and letting Linturi go, then for me, I don't have faith in any of them. They're just politicians, and politicians are not to be trusted. So for me, it still remains Ruto must go. And I'm not concerned about who's going to replace Ruto because for me, I want the system to deliver for Kenyans, the system to deliver for me, to deliver for the one in the village, to deliver for everybody else. So it doesn't matter who would come next and sit on that throne. If they're bad or they're good, the system won't let that person steal the public office. It wouldn't give them room to maneuver, to manipulate, to do any extortions. So for me, the bigger picture is if Ruto goes, yes, Ruto goes, then what? Then fix the system within. So that system provides for everybody has a different need. Maybe for some people, they need a road, a functioning road. Maybe some people need electricity. Maybe some people just need a hospital near them because they have to go miles for hospital. Maybe some villages just need a school. People have different issues, but collectively, a fixed system should be able to deliver for each and every Kenyan and the best way it can. And that system cannot be manipulated. That system will prevent people from stealing, corruption. That system would make it sufficient enough for everybody. No system is 100% perfect, but then it's not as corrupt as the system that we have now. So for me, it's the focus. Yes, Ruto must go. That is the starting point for me. The end point is where for me. The end point is Kenya that works for every Kenyan. I achieve that, then you have nothing to worry about. I don't have to worry about the generations to come. This system has been installed since independence, and every time part of it is being ripped apart, and now it's gone to a point that it's not functioning anymore. So, and this system, it's not there to provide for you and I. The system is there to actually provide for Western interests that actually find now Ruto to be the new kid on the block. It's there to benefit the Western countries, UK, US, whatever you want to name it. And this is nothing unique to Kenya. Mind you, this is the whole of Africa, but Africa is waking up. And Kenya, this young generation, Gen Zs and millennials and all of them, they have wakened something that everybody's been dreading. Where do we start? They've managed to achieve something that is beautiful, something that is gone viral, something admirable. And each and every African country, immediate neighbors are saying, why can we not do that? So for me, I don't know. I don't have much to say. All I can say is that there's nothing that comes easy. Um, it's not going to be an easy journey. There's going to be a lot of hurdles. There's going to be a lot of misinformation. There's going to be a lot of sideshows. It's going to be chaos at times. But that as long as you can keep focus on the prize, focus on the end goal, where you're heading, what do you want to achieve, then I think we can venture forward. I hope we don't have as much as issues as we had last week. And hopefully we could get our country back where that the little kid whose parents are farmers, coffee farmers, but that kid has never tasted chocolate. Maybe that kid would be able to have chocolate made within Kenya. Maybe have his parents on a better wage and him on a better school, and so on and so forth. Maybe we would not have to take our raw materials for it to be processed, and maybe we'd set the price for our raw materials, and maybe we don't have to ship the raw materials, we ship the end goods. That way people could benefit more. Thank you very much, Kimuzi, for the platform, and I yell my mic back to you.
I think the co-hosts are not here, so maybe as we're waiting for them to come back, let me say, first of all, very sorry to the families of the heroes that we lost for the last few weeks, and I've just been sitting and thinking as I've been listening to all the other speakers that have been talking here today. One person's talked about budgeted corruption. So I was just doing the maths. Everybody has been given 2 million. And if you look at the numbers of the MPs that voted for the bill, it's over 204, upwards of 200 MPs. So that means there is a budget for about 400 or so million. Hiyo pesa imetoka wapi? And then you hear a few people talking about that Ruto amesikia, Ruto things are going to be better. In the last week, hiyo kitu yenye imepita, 15 point something billion e-citizen gone. 1.7 billion NTSA gone. CS labor, a person who, according to the last, when she was stating her wealth, when she was being voted in to be a CS, mentioned that ako worth 200 million. How can it be that you claim mileage for almost a quarter of your worth? Like for 1 year, like you've made 43 million Kenyan shillings, and that is ushatoa salary yako hapo, ushatoa allowances zako hapo. This is just your claiming hii pesa ati nimetravel and my travels are worth 43 million Kenyan shillings. Seriously. Yeah? And then hii nini tu this week June Ruto is appointed Director of Foreign Service in the National Defense College. Yeah? The brother to OCS for Defense, Aden Duale, I don't remember his name, but he's something Duale. He's appointed a commissioner of Kenya Railways something. Huh? Just in 1 week. Just in 1 week. And we are talking about wametusikia. But I have had a few people telling me that hizi maandamano zinafaa kuisha. Ruto has yielded. Ruto, we should give him a chance. There is nothing that I don't even have words because I am angry. I am angry. I am angry because personally, I had a lot of expectations. This is not what adult thing was supposed to be like. I'm young, I'm a Gen Z, yes, but this is not what adult thing. This is not the needs that you are sold. Huh? Because how can I be a person? Yes, I have my education, I have gone, nimemaliza hadi university, but I can't even afford to go and just giving an example, I can't afford to go and pay for, let's say, my healthcare. Hmm? I can't afford to go to the hospital. And even if I go to the hospital, there is no doctors, there are no medicines, there are no beds. I have been to some of these hospitals around here. You find a hospital where people are sleeping. One bed, 4, 5 people. Labor ward, one bed, 3 ladies. Mama ametoka kuzaa saizi anaenda analalisha mtoto kwa kitanda anasimama because there are no beds. Huh? And these people, mtu ana nini 43 million, mwingine why? Anyway, I don't think that right now Kenya is headed in the. We all agree actually Kenya is not headed in the right direction, and I think it's high time that even our leaders na venye wako na madharau mingi sana. These people have madharau. They have madharau. I don't think they are full of ego, and I'm so angry that mi nikiweza patana na mmoja sijui naweza mfanyia. Just saying, but it's the anger that these people that are meant to make life easier for you are the ones who are making it harder for you. These people that they swore that when the last election, I was very happy actually because for me, it was the first election. A speaker hapa amesema he had seen a few elections, but for me, last election was the first election that I got to take part in, and I was excited. I was excited because I had seen what was happening. I was seeing what was happening in the previous administration, and now I was excited that we are going to get a government. They sold us the lie of it's a government for young people by young people. I was very happy. I was pale hapo Ruto. But now 3 months in, you're seeing things happening, and you're wondering why the hell did I even vote for this? Why even do we have to have him as a president? Why do we have even yesterday this girl, Wiggy G, this Charlene? Yeah? Nani alimpea platform? Nani alimwambia anaweza ongelesha watu? Na anaongelesha akiwaambia nini? Yeah? This lady is a shareholder of Weston. Is it Weston, the hotel that her father owns? Anasema akituambia nini? So in short, I want to say that we should not relent. It will just started, and as some people have just said here, there have been talks over the years of how things are going to change because people have never been contented. Never, ever, ever. We have never heard an administration that have left the larger number of Kenyans contented. So I think it's high time, and we should not stop the movement. We should go on. We should continue fighting, and it's high time that we say not to this impunity. Leaders should know that they work for us because we cannot elect you and then you go ahead and kill us. We cannot elect you to be our governor. You go ahead and steal all the money zenye inafaa kutujengea hospitali. We cannot elect you to be our president and you're not paying our doctors. We cannot elect you to be our president, you're not paying our teachers. Because how many kids have dropped out of school because of Ruto and the feeding program? How many kids? In some parts of Kenya, kids who are going to school just because hiyo ndio pahali anaweza pata at least 1 meal per day. Hello kids. And again, it has to stop. It has to stop at one time. So I think maybe we were asking about our next solutions. Yes, I have heard a few people saying that we should focus on one thing, but let's not forget there are a lot other things, because we may get to focus on one thing at this point, and at one point, and we forget about the others. So let's look at the issues that are very, very important at this time, and then as time moves on, we can see how we can address the others. And also another thing, wale wasi wanaenda ati unalipwa pesa. Yes, today you are eating with them, but tomorrow you will be crying with us. Because we've seen it again and again and again. So today unafurahia unapewa 10,000, unapewa 1,000,000, 500,000, but tomorrow you'll be crying with us. Because these people are just giving you fish, but they're not teaching you how to fish. So sanyawa hata kuwa, what will you eat? So guys, let's not be divided. Let's be selfless. Do not put your greed, because we all have ambitions. We all want money. We all want to be successful, but do not put your greed